Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Monday. Going to get started with the before market close video, market update, and ticker requests. As always, if anybody does have any ticker requests, please let me know inside of the community. So we had some upside continuation and momentum for Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto space. After the Super Bowl, I was of the assumption that we could potentially see it leading into the Super Bowl, but it actually came after the Super Bowl and didn't really see much chatter going on. But my girlfriend said that she saw a Bitcoin commercial on TV the other day, and that would be for the ETFs, right? So we're going to see mass marketing, and I think a lot of people were kind of, I was thinking about this last night as well, is a lot of people were probably thinking we're going to see run-ups into the Super Bowl, and then what do we know about when a lot of people think the same thing? It's usually the opposite happens, right? And then sure enough, after the Super Bowl is where we got a pretty nice pump. So Bitcoin went from about 47,700 all the way up to 50,300 on some exchanges. It was a double top here. So if we take a look at Coinbase on the hourly time frame here, I just want to zoom in on Bitcoin here because it was a double top. Yeah, 49,999 and then 50,000 right on the money. So a lot of people obviously shorting at that level, and then went down to 49,500, but not a bad little short there of about 1%. A lot of people using leverage off of that 50,000 psychological level as well, and then shortly after that we pierced it, went up to 50,363. So we are starting hourly consolidation now, and it's just a small hourly bull flag at the moment. So if we grab our fib tool, go from the low to the high here, it is an hourly bull flag targeting. Move it out to the 0.32 fib. We're roughly targeting about 52, just over 52K. So we have to be careful here of a potential sell-off, because on the daily time frame, like, we're hitting this massive 50K resistance, right? Psychological level. We haven't consolidated on the daily time frame realistically since back here on February 4th, and the low at 42,228. So from here we could easily pull back test EMAs around 45,000. A lot of people are calling for one more potential sell-off back down to around 40 to 35K, which I think is possible. If we zoom out to the weekly time frame, we did have that weekly higher low there at 38,501. So technically speaking, we don't have to go there. I mean, we got our support out of the way, we got our higher low out of the way. So if we go from, I think I might have already drew it as well. Did I already draw that? Yeah, so we have our low. Get rid of this bear flag, or this fib tool here from the previous bull flag. So if we go from our low to the high, we actually retrace more than the 0.32 fib. But if we use this one here, this low, you could make the case that this is still a weekly bull flag, because this consolidation period here was 27,000. It was about $600 worth of consolidation, so not that much. Whereas if we go from here to this low to swing high, you can see here that this is a convincing pivot and higher low. So we went down from 41,444 down to 38,000. So that's a few $1,000s, right? A couple $1,000. So if we just use that as our measured move here, we go from the low to the high, and then move that out to our 0.32 fib. It says we could be targeting 80K. And in order to negate it, we would need to lose the low there at 38,501. So I'm going to still be paying attention to that, and looking at the fact that we could potentially still see that continuation on the weekly time frame. On the monthly time frame, it's been a while since we saw any kind of monthly consolidation as well. So we have support all the way down at, sitting there at 24,750. So if we were to backtest monthly EMAs, that would put us around that 36 to 32K level. So again, wouldn't be surprised at all if we did see 35,000. It would just be healthy though. We would still be in a monthly uptrend as well. If we did lose 38,000, then we would no longer be in a weekly uptrend, and monthly consolidation would be underway. So that's what we'll be looking out for, but I still think that we're more bullish than not. We have the halving coming up in a couple of months as well, essentially in 2 months. But like I said, I'm not ruling out one more potential dip before we see one more final blow off top moment and euphoria in the market. So we'll be watching for that hourly bull flag as well. In terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have Hex, Arb, and Theta leading the bull list, and on the bear list we have GMX, Songbird, and Flare. Flare's down quite a bit today, but still no daily consolidation. It's actually a cup and handle that's looking to play out here on the daily time frame, which is a bullish continuation pattern, riding EMA 12 like a boss. This is a name that has been exploding over the last couple of months off of its low there at, what was it, an eighth of a penny. Now up over 320%. So this is a name that I've been doing really well on over the last few months. I actually grabbed it around a penny, and it's now over 3 pennies. So I'm up over 200% on that position. I got a lot of free flare as well from the XRP snapshot. So a lot of free flare. I still get flare actually on a monthly basis. I still get like a few thousand airdrop to me every month. But that's going to hurt, like the tokenomics are going to hurt the price, right? So once we start to see those airdrops go away and it's a thing of the past, then it's only going to help the price because we won't have that inflation, right? We won't have coins and tokens continuing to hit the market. The S&P 500, so breaking to another daily higher high today, having consolidated now in about a week. It's now been 8 trading days since we saw any daily higher low. So once we lose the low of the previous daily candle, we will expect a pretty sizable pullback to EMA 12, which would put us around 494. And we could be shaping up for that into tomorrow with a bearish reversal candle here. If we close near the low of the day today, we could even be set for a potential gap down tomorrow. But just like Bitcoin at 50,000 psychological, the S&P 500 is at 500 psychological. So now's the time to be very, very cautious. I think I had a question over the weekend from Grayman. Yeah, Grayman asked, what's a great way to short the S&P 500 as a hedge? So the SPXS 3x inverse leverage. This is a they factor in time decay. So I wouldn't recommend this for long-term holds, but another way to play this would be if the S&P 500 loses the low of the previous daily candle and SPXS breaks the high of the previous daily candle, it's going to act the opposite, right? It's inverse, so it's 3x leverage, and it uses options to get you that 3x. So there is built-in time decay with that kind of optionality that they use. So I would be reluctant to use SPXS for any longer than like a month. If you're going to hold for a hedge position and it's more than a month, like if you're planning to hold the S&P 500 until we pull back to 400, well then I would just recommend reaching out to your broker, finding out if you can just do regular short shares. Instead of hitting the buy button on the SPY, you would hit the sell button. And then when you hit the sell button, you essentially borrow those shares, and if the price drops to 400, you sell it back, right? You cover, you sell it back, and then you keep the difference, right? So if you buy it for 500 on short, you essentially buy this, you basically borrow the stock, it drops to 400, you buy the stock, which makes you basically break even, and then you cover it, and then you buy it for 400 and you borrowed it at 500, so you have that extra $100, you keep the difference, right? So that's the idea with shorting. But a lot of people have to be set up for shorting, so I'd only hold SPXS on a daily or a weekly basis, no more than like a month. You don't want to be holding SPXS for multiple months because of that time decay. So you want to be using regular SPY short shares for anything long term. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, not a bad idea to start scaling into heads positions. I'm actually thinking about it as well. I'm not that eager right now because markets do get irrational longer than we can stay solvent. So I do think that there's, with the Bitcoin halving, there's so many bullish catalysts as well. I think that with the Feds still yet to pause. Usually when the Fed pauses, that's usually when it marks the top. And I'm also still looking for Congress being banned from owning stocks as well. So it could be June or July before they pause rates. So I think we still get some time here. I think we could hit 520, maybe even 550, on the high end 580. Before we enter a brutal bear market that could span multiple years. So just be cautious. That's all I would say going in short here, because like I said, they really are changing every single investor into a bull, and that's generally when we start to go the other way, right? And there's still a ton of money on the sidelines, still a record number of money market funds. So I do think we could get a little bit nutty here. I think this could, realistically, I think we could hit 520 on the S&P 500. We do have a weekly bull flag that's targeting 521, and we're very close with today's bounce and weekly higher high today. We're less than 3.5% away from that. So 520, 540, I think is very, very doable. And then, on the high end, 550 to 580, and that's where I think we're going to set a long-term market top. And you don't want to be holding the bag when this thing craters, because like I said, big tech, The S&P 500 going to get absolutely demolished. I mean, we're just at 206 in March of 2020. So roughly, we're now up almost 150%, right? So scary times, but you don't need to be scared. You just have to have a plan, right? So have a plan for all scenarios and up, down, sideways. Obviously holding any kind of tech like NVDA, just an absolute monster right now. So it's a daily rising wedge as well that's forming, but we do have a daily bull flag target of 773, and today we hit 746. So we got very close. We came within less than 4% away. And this is another name that's going to absolutely crater. You can see here we are seeing some hidden bearish RSI divergence though, with lower highs, lower lows on the RSI and higher lows and higher highs on the price action. Tesla did something similar to that, right, on the monthly time frame, where we had higher lows and higher highs, lower highs, lower lows, and then we ultimately went to almost monthly oversold, and we pulled back about 75%. So again, if NVDA were to do something similar, and we pulled back, if this is going to be our high, or we're getting close to our high, and we pull back 75%, that'd put us somewhere around 175, right? Which wouldn't be completely out of the question, right? Around $200, $250, I wouldn't be surprised at all. On the low end, could go down to that 150, but it's going to be an interesting few years ahead. I think 2025, I think we still get some runway. I think 2024, I think we still have some runway. I think into the end of 2024, we could see selling pressure start to pick up. Into 2025, I think that's when it's going to really start to pick up in a big way, and then it could span into 2026, maybe even 2027 is where we bottom out. That's what I'm going to be looking for. So like I said, I think we still get some time before we see a mass exodus from the financial markets, specifically on some of these tech names. But just because we could easily pull back, like on NVDA, for example, we could easily pull back here 40-50% and still be in a monthly uptrend, right? So there's no major red flags at the moment. But what would be a major red flag is if we did come down here like this, formed a lower high, and then confirmed a monthly downtrend with a lower low and a lower high. Lower high, lower low, then that would be a big cause for concern, and then that would more than likely be our long-term top being set. So just something to consider. In terms of movers and shakers on the day today, we have BIGG, JSDA, MARA, and on the bear list we have CODE, MVMD, and HP. Interesting to see Jones Soda up this much. So one thing that if you look at Jones Soda here, it kind of looks like an MJ stock. Do we pop right around August? No, we popped. When did we pop here? Yeah. So this is actually that's 2022. So August 2023. No, we didn't really pop on that HHS news. Interesting. As we know, they're going to be partnering with Tilray to bring Mary Jones Soda to Ontario to start, and then other provinces following suit. I think Alberta probably the next one, if not BC. But other categories as well they're partnering on, like edibles and whatnot. And Tilray said they're looking to get into other categories, so we could see more of the same. He said they're looking to bring the same flavors to other categories. But yeah, we're up almost 100% here off the lows there on JSDA. So the low there at 11 cents. We have the high now at 22 cents. So nice move there. Monthly bounce underway. So might be an opportunity for a buyout target here, right, for Canopy, or for Tilray, not Canopy. JSDA, Yahoo Finance. So with this move, their market cap must be up around 20 million now. It's at 15 million. Yeah, 22 now. Decent move. So who knows? Maybe it's running on. I highly doubt there would be news that Tilray's going to buy them. I don't think they'd partner and then look to bring the products and then before they even launched, buy them. You never know. I mean, there's always a chance, but I would say there's less than 10, 20, maybe less than a 15% chance, say, that they're going to buy them like soon. I think it'd be a while out. I think it'd be at least, if they were going to buy JSDA, I think it'd be at least 6 months to a year. But interesting move here nonetheless. INSG, this is a name that I picked up for the long term, and we also had a PAL bot buy algo alert go off. So the low there at 162 actually just did a reverse split as well. So it did a 1 for 10. So it's not just MJ that does reverse splits. There's been blockchain names that do reverse splits. Was Hut one of them? Yeah, Hut was one of them. Did a 1 for 5. Went from 390 all the way up to 22 bucks. So it went up almost 5x, 500%. And it was doing a planned reverse split. So it's not all doom and gloom for reverse splits. And then INSG just did a 1 for 10 reverse split. And here it is off of the lows up almost 100%. And it's starting the monthly bounce. Still in a monthly downtrend though, but this is a 5G play. And yeah, all-time high on this thing now with the reverse split is all the way up at $2,437. Holy crap, holy. That is wild. I didn't realize that. They must have been into something before. Yeah, because they've been around since 2000. Like the dot-com days, right? So, I don't know what they were doing before. But could be a nice recovery and success story here. So this is, I equate this to like, I don't know, like a MedMen, you know. I'll only put in no more than $1,000, but if I'm right and they turn this thing around, if I'm wrong, most I can lose is $1,000. If I'm right, it could substantially, you know, multiply that. So I can't remember where I got in. It was somewhere around the low here. I think I got in around $2 post split. But just using the absolute low here at 162, we'll say, if we go back to just the highs of February 2021, which basically looks like an MJ stock itself, same timelines, that would be 140,000%. So $1,000 investment into $140,000, right? So this is one of those names that could offer a ton of upside. And that's just if we go back to February 2021 highs. If you nail this thing at the low and we go back to all-time highs, wow, that's 1,500,000. Hang on a second here, I'm confused. 154, no, yeah, 1,540,000. So I highly doubt we would go back to all-time high. I really don't think that's going to be the most likely scenario. But you know, even if we just get back to monthly EMAs, that is a 300x to a 10x. So $1,000 investment into $10,000 if we just go back to $20. So I think that's very doable. But yeah, I'm not going to be selling this one anytime soon whatsoever. It's a 5G play, and like I said, it's with the world going the way that it's going, and you know, payments being renovated, the whole you know, financial system being reinvented. We're going to need 5G. And there's a lot of people saying that, you know, 5G is bad for you and all that stuff. Like 5G has been around since the beginning of time, right? Since there were radio frequencies, we just didn't tap into the technology. So you know, there's a lot of controversy around it, but at the end of the day, I think it's well worth the risk. All right, so look at Canadian MJ, movers and shakers on the day today. We have PWR, INCR, and IMCC. So we got Intercure and IMMJ Corp. Stealing the show today along with PWR. Bearless, we have ACB, CGC, and OGI. So OGI, daily consolidation today, still in the daily uptrend with our low, high, higher, low, and higher high. We're just looking for a daily higher low here compared to 169. Still yet to backtest EMA 12 as well, so we're very strong here on the daily time frame, and we do have earnings coming up tomorrow. So I'm going to do another video probably shortly after this one on OGI, and we'll do some earnings prep. But I was very confident in this being a massive laggard because of the fact that when, like, Tilray had almost confirmed a monthly uptrend. For example, we'll just bring up the Tilray chart here. So we had our low, high of the bounce after HHS recommendation, a higher low, then we started the monthly bounce, and we were looking for a higher high. So we got 38% away from confirming a monthly uptrend, whereas OGI was still in a monthly downtrend, and it hadn't even started the monthly bounce yet. So just in the last 2 months, we finally started the monthly bounce after multiple monthly inside bars, but we had barely any room for a monthly high or low to form. So I expected the most likely scenario, and a lot of names were starting to get back above their monthly EMA 12 and target EMA 26. So I said, well, if OGI were to do something similar, this could be a monster swing trade here on a break of 145, because if we break 145, that's 2 monthly inside bars in a row and tightening range that's breaking, right? And we would join the rest of the pack, probably come up and test EMA 12. That's exactly what we did on this monthly candle, then pulled back. Then on this candle here of this month, of February, we're starting to get continuation, right? So exactly what I anticipated happened. Even if you just entered on that monthly resistance breaking and the inside bars breaking, you'd be up almost 60% currently. And again, it's just looking at the most likely scenario. So for the last 3 months, Tilray has actually been near the lows. So we're starting to see money rotate into some of the laggards. But if you zoom out, ultimately we're going to look the same on a yearly basis, and the overall trend, it's following the rest of the sector, right? But OGI hasn't even done this yet. OGI hasn't even started monthly consolidation to give us a higher low, whereas Tilray already has its higher low and it's starting the monthly bounce, and we could confirm a monthly uptrend. OGI is at least 3 months away from seeing a monthly uptrend, 2 to 3 months. Realistically, next month we could set a monthly higher low and then the next month bounce and confirm a monthly uptrend, but it's at least 2 months away, maybe 3. So Tilray already did this. We still need the higher low and then the higher high. So we're at least 2 or 3 months away from OGI confirming a monthly uptrend, whereas Tilray could do it this month if it wanted to. CGC, bloodbath continues. Monthly consolidation, 346 coming into play here. We have 373. So forming the monthly higher low now, but bulls need to step up here and step in a hurry to prevent that support from breaking. Because if they lose that support, then it's a monthly lower low and a monthly downtrend continuation. Then we have to start over again, start the monthly bounce, get a higher low. So it's not looking good for CGC here. Cron, interesting, could act as a laggard here like OGI. You can see here EMA 12 has been a brick wall of resistance, upper wick, pull back, upper wick, upper wick, upper wick. If we get above this convincingly, it could be heading to EMA 26, which brings us up around $3. And that's on the NASDAQ, so USD. But yeah, I'll probably do another video on OGI here after hours, and we'll do some earnings prep into tomorrow. MSOS, so weekly consolidation underway. I mentioned this in the live stream from Friday. I said that the most likely scenario is that we see consolidation on MSOS this week. And how did I know that? Well, it's not that I have a crystal ball and I know for sure, but we take a look at a name like AYR. AYR are seeing 2 weeks of consolidation. So last week it started weekly consolidation, and a lot of our MJ names in Canada started weekly consolidation as well. You can see here CDC, well, definitely one of the weaker ones, but this is now week 2, so similar to AYR. ACB, not yet weekly consolidation, but it was last week. So another clue. Cron, one of the outliers. High Tide, weekly consolidation last week. OGI, nowhere near weekly consolidation, so it's still definitely one of the lead sector bulls. SNDL, weekly consolidation last couple weeks. Tilray, same thing, weekly consolidation. So the writing was on the wall. We started to see AYR, one of the really strong names in the US, that was leading the upside and the momentum for the bulls. It started to see cracks in its armor last week where we saw weekly consolidation. So then this week, we were looking for a lot of the same, right? And then CL, now just starting weekly consolidation for the first week this week, whereas AYR is seeing 2 weeks in a row of weekly consolidation, losing the low of the previous weekly candle twice in a row. So CL, just starting weekly consolidation this week. Kira, just starting weekly consolidation this week. GTII, just starting weekly consolidation that week, this week. Trulieve, same deal. So then that means MSOS likely the same, but MSOS still in a weekly uptrend as long as 599 holds. So this is what I mentioned yesterday. It was time, or on Friday, it's time to be cautious because we could easily pull back from here 20-30% and still be in a weekly uptrend. Realistically, from the high there, we could pull back 45% and still be in a weekly uptrend. It is a cup and handle here potentially forming that we're looking at here. So you got this cup, handle, boom. Could potentially see this play out as well. The psychology is there. So we'll just take a rough, use those candle bodies here. This is just a rough estimate as well. If this were to confirm, this would bring us up to around 22, 21 and a quarter. It's possible. If we get Florida on the ballot and approved in November, we could easily send this thing to $20. I mean, we just hit 1064, so what's another 100% from there, right? Easily go up there. And then rescheduling, easily see $20 on MSOS in my opinion. Germany coming online as well, April 1st. That'll be some hype in the sector. Pennsylvania, safer banking could get some traction as well, and we could start to see it more and more in the political campaigns. We saw a video from Kamala Harris, the vice president, said that we changed federal MJ policy, right? So And there's a lot of chatter going on in the political sphere, and they might use this as a way to sway voters, especially younger voters. SHWZ, IN, and BEV leading the bull list today. And on the bear list, we have Acreage, AYR, and CXXI. Acreage could be another buy low opportunity, great opportunity as well, with potentially Canopy USA acquiring them. We could see Pennsylvania. We have Ohio, another big market that they operated in as well. I think New Jersey. But yeah, no major red flags right here at the moment. Could potentially see a weekly higher low form around 835, which is EMA 12, and then EMA 26 at 764. So I think we could see a little bit more weakness, and we're not set up well at all if the S&P 500 were to start weekly consolidation. If we were to lose the low of last week at 490.23 for SPY, then weekly consolidation here, and then we could pull back to around 480, 460s. So that wouldn't be good for MJ if that were the case. But let's see if we can get the rotation from some of these stronger MSOs into the more beaten down LPs, like your Tilrays, your SNDLs. OGI maybe not, because they have earnings come. It's a lot's going to be riding on earnings tomorrow. This could mark our monthly bounce and top if we see we have an upper wick forming as well. So if we see a bearish earnings reaction, then this could mark our top here. And if we take the look of the move off the low, that was 138%. Tilray off of its low to the high was 115%. SNDL off of its low to the high was 94%. High Tide, its move off the low was 130%. So it's looking like OGI could be setting its top here, actually overshooting a lot of the average, almost 150% off the lows. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw earnings reaction, bearish earnings reaction, and a miss. That's the most likely scenario. All right, just checking in on the POW Group private community news, see if there's any updates. But yeah, I'm gonna do a video on this here shortly after, and it'll be prior to market open as well. Okay, we got a few ticker requests here. So we got Al. How you doing, Al? Grayman. Thanks for joining. We'll take a look at, we got a few tickers here, looks like, so we'll jump in here. So yeah, not surprising you want to take a look at INCR, Al, with the date that it's happening today. So we'll bring it up. INCR. So it looks similar to OGI, right? We're just starting the monthly bounce, and we're acting as a laggard. So again, similar to OGI, it's up 150% off the lows. So Intercure is now up 81%. So we could see a little bit more upside. One of the bigger beneficiaries of the German market, obviously. January 31st, signs definitive agreement to acquire Leon MJ Pharmacy chain. Not to be confused with Leon's, the furniture store. But yeah, off the low, 81% off the low. So a lot of names getting above their EMA 12 and poking above it. So we could see some runway here. I think we could see maybe, $2, maybe 220. And then we would likely top out, form a monthly higher low. So just like OGI, right? We need to be cautious here because this is generally where we've been topping out, just above EMA 12 on a lot of our names. And then, 100 to 150% off of the lows is kind of what the norm has been, the average. And then again, INCR, it's up almost that 100% off the lows, and we still haven't tested EMA 12. So I think we could get a little bit higher than this. I think we could get $2, $2.20. We have lack of price action resistance till 287, and EMA 26 there at 277, but EMA 12 at 190. So I wouldn't be surprised, $2 psychological pullback there, come down, form a monthly higher low. But right now, based on the size of this monthly candle, it would be hard to see monthly consolidation this month or even next month. If we were to pull back, if we were to hit $2 and then start to pull back into next month and then close around 150, 140, okay, maybe we could see consolidation next month. But if we close near the high here and then open the month near the high next month, we'd have to pull back like 35% just to start monthly consolidation. So what bulls would want to see is the most likely scenario is continue the monthly bounce into next month, and then top out, and then just tighten up, and then into April form that higher low, and then all systems go into, and that lines up with German legalization as well, right? Maybe we're going to top out this month, inside bar next month, monthly consolidation to begin April, and then that's when everything starts to go haywire. But in order to set the monthly bounce here top, in order for the top to be in, we need to confirm a weekly downtrend. So the weekly trend will be your guide here. We have our low, high, higher low and higher high, another higher low and higher high. So that was a monster entry here at 118. That was actually a triple bottom. So you had weekly 118 higher low there on December 11th. Another 118 support test, double bottom there on the 18th of December. And then just on January 29th, we hit 118 again. So 118, 118, 118, unable to pierce through it and lose it as support if you entered there off of the triple bottom. If you didn't get a chance to enter here on that double bottom, you had another triple bottom opportunity, and if you entered there, that would have been 51% of upside. We could still see another EMA 12 and 26 bull across. So 118 is the line in the sand support level. And it is a daily bull flag by the looks of it. So we go from here to the low. Yep, daily bull flag. Low to the high, small, brief daily consolidation. And then we take our measured move. You're looking at a move up to around 204, which again is, it's funny how, you know, just my own analysis and an interpretation of this chart, comparing it to some other leaders in the space, I said somewhere around $2, $2.20, and then we have a daily bull flag targeting 204, right? So that's called confluence. When you have a certain thesis in mind and you're comparing and you're doing some analysis and you have a certain target, and then you continue to do your analysis and you see more and more proof and not proof, but more and more signs and signals and patterns that are saying this level as well, then the more confluence you have, the more probability that's going to be hit. Looking real good here, seeing a bull cross of the stochastic as well, well above the 10-week moving average on INCR. And we have a lack of resistance here. We're over the 50 weekly now, so we have a runway until 338. Wouldn't expect us to go straight there, though. Let's see the daily time frame. Yeah, we're above all the daily moving averages as well, so this is looking really, really good. And we could still see an a golden cross with the 50 crossing through the 200. But we're more than likely a few weeks out yet before we see those cross, because they're so far away. Like if the 50 was at 140 and the 200 was at 150, well then yeah, that could be any week now. But because the 50's at 132 and the 200's at 157, we're still quite a ways away, right? Over 20 cents away from seeing those cross. So I would say it's at least a few weeks, if not a couple months, before we see that golden cross. And then what I've been saying in the space now for a while now, that we would see weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull crosses first, and then we would see golden crosses, and then we would see monthly uptrends. That's usually the case. That's what the three criteria that I want to see to be confident that the bear market is in for a lot of these names. And the more names that do so, you know, in the US, Canada, retailers in US and Canada, ETFs in US and Canada for MJ, then the more confident we are. So I said the most likely scenario is that we get the weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross first, then the golden cross, then the monthly uptrend, right? So look how far away we are from confirming a monthly uptrend. We still haven't even confirmed a monthly high or low yet. So we're at least 2-3 months away. I would say 3 on INCR, maybe 2 on OGI. But weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross very close to happening. We have EMA 12 at 141 and EMA 26 at 148, so we're only 7 pennies away from seeing those cross. That would likely happen first. And then we would see the golden cross with the 50-day and the 200-day moving average crossing with the 50-day below it. And then we would look to top out, form a monthly higher low, and then a monthly uptrend. So it's definitely one of the laggards in the space as well, similar to OGI, but I'd be cautious on this one. Cautious on entries. Might be a good idea to go short, actually, and look to get a monthly higher low support. And tightening up. And again, not set up well if the S&P 500 were to start weekly consolidation, which we knew was inevitable as well. And it'll just be healthy. It'd be unhealthy if we didn't start weekly consolidation soon on the S&P 500. So you were asking for OGI. I think we pretty much covered that one, but we can do a little bit more extensive analysis over here on the weekly time frame on stock charts. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of a clue here that the stochastic is getting ready to cross bearish, and that usually happens first and then we lose the 10-week moving average, then we see a MACD bear cross, and that's exactly what happened the last time we lost the 10-week moving average and saw a stochastic bear cross. So the stock RSI saw a bear cross, then the 10-week moving average was lost, and then we saw a MACD bear cross. Then we saw a stochastic bull cross, a close over the 10-week moving. So it's the same on the flip side, right? When we go to confirm it as resistance again, but above as support, we even back tested here as perfect support. So that was literally technical analysis playing out to perfection. Low, high, got above it, confirmed it as resistance, came back down, confirmed it as support, then it was go time, right? And then, like I said, stochastic usually goes first, then the 10-week moving average, then the MACD. So if we were to see something similar here, we would see a bear cross of the stochastic, come down, test the 10-week moving average. If we lose that, close below it, then we could see a MACD bear cross, and at that point, that would be monthly consolidation, and more than likely that higher low forming as we attempt to trend change here on OGI. We're above the 50 weekly, and we're targeting the 100 weekly there at 295. And again, a lot of the names starting to trend back to their 100 weekly moving average. Tilray got very close. It got within, what was the high there? 350 and 420. So we came within like 70 cents. So maybe what, like 20-30%. So if OGI were to go like another 20 to 30%, that'd be around 288. Which 295. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if our top was going to be set very, very soon. I would say, if not already, we'd be looking at around 240s. And we just had the golden cross as well on OGI. So again, let's go back to those three criterias that I mentioned. Weekly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross happened 2 weeks ago, right? I said it probably happened first, but that's criteria number one met. Then we just had the golden cross realistically like this week, right? So that's number two, and that happened second, just like I anticipated. And then on monthly time frame, we're potentially topping out here on the monthly. Then we need the monthly higher low somewhere around 150, 140s, and then a higher high. So we're still at least 2-3 months away from confirming that. But again, cautious on entries here, and if you're looking for long-term entries, maybe you want to wait for a monthly higher low to form. High tide, yeah, we can take a look at high tide as well. High tide, so one of the names that is holding very well. Look how long we've been over monthly EMA 12 here. We couldn't even get above it here. Confirmed it as monthly downtrend and resistance, monthly lower high and lower low. EMA 12 and 26 bear cross on the monthly time frame, first in history. Now we're gearing up for the first ever monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross in history. And look how again, technical analysis 101. Get above it, confirm it as resistance, get below it, get above it again, confirm it as support. This time it's confirming as support. Last time we closed above it and then got knocked right back down. So confirmed it as resistance, did not confirm support. Whereas now we're going on 2 months in a row now of holding that monthly EMA 12 and confirming it as support and closing above it. So if we can close this month and then next month continue to see that range, EMA 26 is coming into play there at 219, which is not far away at all. And then price action at 230 resistance is the key resistance from here, because if we break that, then it's monthly uptrend confirmed, and it's probably going to be one of the first in Canada to confirm a monthly uptrend. I posted on X and in the Pal Group private community over on the MJ channel here. A lot of people were asking for it, so I went and compiled a list of names that were in monthly uptrends. So if we just, here it is here. So if you go to current monthly uptrends, Cureleaf, AYR, Green Thumb, Trueleaf, MSOS, ETF, IIPR, Verano, TerraSense, C21, Grown Rogue, and Nova MJ. So those were all the names that were in monthly uptrends. You notice that the only one on there was Nova MJ, Nova Cannabis in Canada, right? So I think most likely scenario is that high tide could be one of the first, right? Because even just from current price levels, if we go to monthly resistance, that's only 28% from here. And then for comparison, Tilray from its current level to monthly resistance would have to go 80%. So I think high tide could be one of the first. So it's all about 230 USD resistance. And the high of last month at $1.99 and $2 psychological. So get above $2. We have EMA 26 at $2.19, and then I wouldn't really consider $2.19 too much. I'd be looking at $2.30. So $2 psychological, get above that, then we're probably heading to 230, break 230, monthly uptrend confirmed, and then we have a lack of resistance all the way up to $5.89, $5.89. But yeah, it's looking pretty decent here, holding above that EMA 12 on the monthly time frame, and even on the weekly time frame here, we're holding EMA 12 and we're still in a weekly uptrend. So we're starting weekly consolidation again. We're just looking for a higher low compared to 146 and then 150 psychological. So we'll say 150 psychological is very, very strong support. Wouldn't want to see us lose 146 as we would lose the weekly uptrend. So that's key support. And we had a double top there, 198, 199 too on the weekly time frame. So that was a great idea to go short and potentially expect weekly consolidation. A lot of names in the Canadian space were starting weekly consolidation. Even the US names were starting weekly consolidation. And from that double top, it pulled back 15%. Daily time frame, we're actually bouncing on the daily time frame, but we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bear cross, which would mean more downside on our way to daily oversold potentially. And anything under 190 is just a daily lower high in a daily downtrend. Hourly time frame, though, we're in an hourly uptrend here. So ever low, high, higher low, and higher high. Could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross there on the hourly. And we have a lack of resistance again up to around that 187 area. So could see a little bit more upside, maybe 187. But again, not set up well if the S&P 500 were to start weekly consolidation or see any kind of healthy correction. But High Tide, definitely one of the names that I would put on the top of the list that could potentially confirm a monthly uptrend in Canada first. High Tide on the weekly time frame here, again, we're seeing a stochastic bear cross. Potentially, we lost the 10-week moving average, and now we're seeing a potential MACD bear cross exactly in that order as we would predict, right? Or expect. Better word. But yeah, there's some cracks in the armor here, and we could see a MACD bear cross next, which would mean we could pull back to that 150 area. And we're holding the 100 weekly here. We got a lot of support trying to confirm here on High Tide. And then we got some runway until, so a lot of names trending back to their 100 weekly moving average. So again, like a name like OGI, that would put us around 295. INCR, that would put us around 338. Tilray, that's around 299, right? So that would be close to confirming a monthly uptrend in itself. But yeah, High Tide actually got above its 100 weekly, so it's on its way to its 200 there at 331. Oops, High Tide on the daily time frame here, and again we're holding the 50-day moving average. So this is looking really good. Holding the 50-day moving average, we're holding the 100 weekly, we're holding the 10-week support, we're holding weekly EMA 12, we're holding monthly EMA 12. So it's looking really, really good. It's just I wouldn't rule out one more potential drop, just with the remaining sector weakness, and then I think into March, April, I think High Tide could be one of the first names to confirm a monthly uptrend. All right, hopefully that helps. Grayman, take a look at Cura. Sure, we can do that. We'll chart it on the NEO exchange because it's a little easier with the lack of history on the TSX. So yeah, monthly uptrend, and we're actually forming a bearish reversal candle here on the monthly time frame, but we could be gearing up as well for the first monthly EMA 12 and 26 bull cross in history. This is going to be another name that benefits tremendously from the German market, and a lot of, there was thoughts that rumors flying around that Cura could buy Kronos, so Kron. Still not ruling that completely off the table at this point, but we got very close to 784 resistance. We had 778. Excuse me. Weekly consolidation underway. Key support's going to be down at 461. As long as that holds, we're still in a weekly uptrend. So this isn't one of those names that we just started weekly consolidation with a loss of 17, the low of last week. So this is a name that could pull back 35% and still be in a weekly uptrend, right? So that's when that's why we need to be cautious on some of these names that run this much. But EMA 12 coming into play, that'll be first support at 631, then EMA 26 at 577. But the most important support is 461 on those are your three support levels to be watching. But And if you're looking for entries on this one, that could be your area to start targeting a scale-in approach, right? You could add a little bit at weekly EMA 12, add a little bit at EMA 26, and then add a little bit at weekly price support at 461. Yeah, we lost the daily uptrend as well. So when you lose the daily uptrend, that means zoom out to the next higher level time frame, the weekly, and look for weekly consolidation. That's exactly what we have. We're losing the low of last week, therefore consolidation underway. Same thing with the weekly time frame. Lose weekly uptrend or confirm a weekly downtrend, then zoom out to the monthly, look for monthly consolidation. But nowhere near monthly consolidation. We would have to lose the low of 525 last month to start monthly consolidation, which could happen this month, but I doubt it. Probably going to be next month. 17 days left in the month. We have the 10-week moving average there at 631. We're having a stochastic bear cross and the MACD heading to cross potentially bearish over the next week or two as well. So all about the 10-week moving average there at 631. Lose that, we're probably going to see a MACD bear cross, and then we're probably heading back down to around $5. This is a name that got above its 10-week moving average as well, so one of the lead technical bulls as well on Cureleaf. It actually got close to its 200 weekly there at 973. Another one is GTBIF. GTBIF. Yeah, it got very close to its 200 weekly, but we're coming up on our 100 weekly support there at 606. Then we have our 50 weekly at 488. So yeah, somewhere around that 100 and 50 weekly moving average between $6 and $5. I think maybe we come back down, test $5, see a slight flush of that, go stop loss hunting. A lot of people that entered over the last few weeks probably have using $5 psychological as their stop. So wouldn't be surprised at all if we saw a flush down to around that 50 weekly, around 488, see a flush of $5, stop a lot of people out, and then we see massive upside around that $10 area, that 200 weekly moving average. Daily time frame coming back down to test 50-day support. So the 50-day moving average at 604, and then again the 100 moving average on the daily time frame at 552, and then the 200-day moving average at 494. So yeah, I think 550 to $5 is a nice area to target here for a bottom. But again, you could take that scale in approach, add a bit at 6, add again at $5, 550, and then again at $5, right? But it's looking like we could see a bit more downside. You have to keep in mind, right? The S&P 500 psychological, getting above 500. Could it potentially form another weekly higher low over the next week or two? Very possible. It would just be healthy. Bulls can regain their composure and then look to confirm that weekly bull flag up to around 521 on SPY. But I don't anticipate us going to 521 right there. I think the most likely scenario is we see a weekly higher low in the process. And that would spell a lot more headwinds and downside for MJ, right? So MSOS, I think we went over a lot of it, but yeah, bearish reversal candle here on the monthly time frame shaping up as well. Weekly time frame finally starting weekly consolidation for the first time in 8 weeks, so 2 months, and we have no support down to 599. So again, another one of those names that could pull back about 38%, still be in a weekly uptrend. We have EMA 12 there on the weekly time frame at 835. So yeah, 835, and then EMA 26 at 764. So let's take a look, see if we can get some confluence of levels here on the 10-week moving average, 825. So yeah, it lines up with the EMA 12 there on the weekly time frame. MSOS losing its 100 weekly moving average. So the next is the 50 weekly at 655. And we have 659 is the 200-day moving average. So again, somewhere around that 750 to 650 area might be a great target for a bottom here on MSOS. And again, if we were to go back to 750, that'd just be a loss of EMA 26, and we would still be in a weekly uptrend at that point. So there'd be no major red flags whatsoever. But in order to confirm this weekly higher low, we need to see a daily uptrend confirm ASAP. And then one thing we want to do as well is see if this is still a weekly bull flag. Actually, let's get rid of it. But like I said, it could be a big cup and handle. But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves there. Just kind of looking at that as a possibility. But if we go from the low here at 599 to the high, it is still a weekly bull flag at the moment. Like to perfection. If we lose the low of the day today at 876 or 875, if we lose 875, we're probably heading to 832, and at that point it would be negated. So if we see a lower low tomorrow from today, then we're going to scratch this weekly bull flag because it would pull back more than 40%, which is typically a decent area, and you don't want to pull back more than that threshold on a bull flag setup. So if we lose like I said, 875 tomorrow, we're probably heading to around that 832, that 0.5 retracement. That would negate the weekly bull flag, and then we could even target the 0.618 there, the golden pocket around 775 potentially. But if we hold support here at 876 tomorrow and we start to bounce, and again, we're going to be watching the S&P 500. If S&P 500 starts weekly consolidation, that's going to spell trouble for this ETF as well. But if we break resistance there at 1064, it was a double top too right there. Look at that, 1064, 1064. So double top into weekly consolidation. So another clue. And 10 psychological, right? So you got above 10 psychological, SPY at 500 psychological, Bitcoin at 50,000 psychological. So all these psychological levels coming into play, and then a double top there at 1064. You can't make this stuff up, right? And then once we lost 955 this week, weekly consolidation underway. Even if you entered there, that was a short opportunity of around 8%. Double top, rejection, getting above 10 psychological, losing weekly consolidation and support this week. And then, yeah. But in order to confirm this weekly bull flag, we need to break that double top resistance at 1064. Break 1064, then our measure move is just under $16 on MSOS. So that's what we need to do to confirm it, and that's what we need to do to negate it. All right, hopefully that helps. Just checking in on the community here as well. See if there's any news developments. Nothing I'm seeing right out of the gate here. No, should be good. A little bit of a longer update today, but great to see that people are still being active when most people are getting complacent. S&P 500 did close over 500, but we're testing 500 support here after hours. So all about the low of last week at 490.23 on the S&P 500. OGI earnings tomorrow morning, pre-market. And like I said, I'll do another earnings prep video more than likely after this, shortly after this. All right, have a great night. We'll talk to you all in the Power Grid private community in a little bit.